to find out his job was actually, the people were actually government agents. And Mike was working for the government and he didn't even know it. Hello, today we are talking about how we lived on $1,000 a month. We are giving you exact numbers for our budget. We did it.
Yes.
And it actually wasn't too painful. I mean, it would have been nice to have more money, but it wasn't actually that hard. This video is brought to you by our Dining on a Dime cookbook. We have quick and easy recipes your family will love to help you get in and out of the kitchen fast. Please visit us at livingonadime.com. It's 25% off now. All right, how did we live on $1,000 a month? So I was getting about $300 disability. I have chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. So we had about $300 for me. It was like $285, I think. Mike was a waiter. We lived in a little town called Estes Park, Colorado. We got married in October, right at the start of the low season. And you were a waiter at the restaurant.
Yes.
Making, you can't remember for sure, but you said it was
$2 an hour plus tips, and probably worked out to $6 to $8 an hour most of the time. Although when the tourist season ended, suddenly there were no tips.
Yeah.
So, and this was
1994.
Yeah.
When we got married.
A year or two after out of college.
Yeah.
When I didn't know what to do with my degree.
So he had a degree. He had his BS degree, which comes in handy a lot right now with your BS.
I'm a master at BS. Oh no, that would be a master's degree. Sorry.
So anyway, he had a degree in communications, film and TV, which was useless. Basically useless. So he was a waiter. And here's what we spent to live on $1,000 a month. People always tell us, it's just not possible. There's no way you can do it. Yes, you can. And here's how we did it.
Well, and it might not be the choice that you would want to make, but you can do it. But while you're doing it, then you should try to figure out how to up your income.
Yeah, you can do it. Just get yourself in a position then so that you're working your way up, which is what we have done over the last 27 years. But, you know, most people could do it faster than we did, but we had some obstacles along the way that kept us from getting our income higher. So $1,000 a month is what we had. We spent $100 on tithe every single month. So we are evangelical Christians. We believe that no matter how much money you earn, a minimum of 10% needs to go back to God to thank him for providing the amount that he has given you. And a lot of people will say, oh, I just can't afford it. You can't afford not to tithe. We have tithed every single month since we have been married, and we have never missed a bill being paid, ever. Unemployment, babies, everything. We have never missed a bill.
And just so you know, I would say we're not super Christians in that Tara had to say at the very beginning, hey, we should be doing this. And I was thinking, what? Well, we can't really afford that right now. So I did have to have a mindset change to realize, and it has been a blessing.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And so because I feel that because we have tithed every single month that we've been married, or as our paycheck comes in, depending on, you know, like now we're self-employed. So if we get a chunk in, then we tithe on it, even if it's every 6 weeks or something. But anyway, so we tithe 10% of everything. Now, we also give above that, and that's called sacrificial giving. So as we see someone in need or something like that, above the 10%, we will give as we feel led, okay? But that is our first thing, is that we tithe 10%. So that was $100. Rent was $400 when we got married. Now, a lot of people, financial people, will say, don't spend more than 25% of your income. Well, when your income is that low, you can't spend, I mean, you have to have rent. So you're going to have to cut somewhere else.
And you have to be creative. Like at that time, the rent in that area was $850 a month for what we had. But we worked out a deal to do some work for the lady because the place needed some work in exchange for a lower price. And then if your income is really low, those kinds of things can help your money go further.
Yep. So we paid $400 for rent. Then we paid $150 for car insurance and gas a month. We live in Colorado. Colorado, people back east and people over in European countries don't understand. You can't just go to your local grocery store here. Most people have to drive no less than 20 or 30 minutes to get to a grocery store in Colorado.
And at the time, there was not much of a grocery store
Mm-mm.
option up there.
Yeah.
So we had to drive 40 miles.
Yeah, so we were in the mountains and we had to drive 40 miles just to get to the grocery store. Our phone was $30 a month. We had unlimited calling. I would call mom all the time, so we got the unlimited calling, but that was $30 a month. We spent $50 a month on food. So that was actually a little bit high, but because we lived in this small town without a very good grocery store, we did pay a little bit more. Cable, we did have cable actually. We spent $20 a month on cable.
And at the time, it was because Tara was sick and often not able to do anything.
Yeah, so I was just laying on the couch and I needed something to take my mind off of, so we did pay for cable. And then electric and gas, heat. We didn't have air conditioning because we were in the mountains, but heat and gas, cooking gas, that kind of thing, that was about $100 a month, depending on the month. So that left us with about $250 left over every month. The rest of it went for gifts, went for car maintenance, anything emergency like that. I had health insurance, but Mike had no health insurance. So if he had something go wrong, it would pay for doctor's visits or something like that. That's how we lived on $1,000 a month.
And the thing is, Tara broke it down in how we spent the money, but we had at different times in our lives, depending on the budget, some costs would be higher and we couldn't really change it.
Mm-hmm.
So then we'd have to just adjust everything else to make it fit. And it does fit, but sometimes it takes a month or two to figure out, oh, this is how to make it fit the best.
Yeah. Now, we didn't have a car payment. Cars were paid off. We didn't have, we had your $3,000 credit, so I didn't put that on here. We paid about $100 a month to Mike's credit card debt that he had when we got married. And that was $3,000, and we were really trying to get that paid off. And so we tried $100 a month, but some months we couldn't do that. Some months it had to be the minimum payment. So then if we got a tax refund or if we got a Christmas gift or birthday gift or something like that, all of that money went to go paying off our debt. But aside from that credit card, that $3,000 credit card debt, we didn't have a car loan. We didn't have student loans. We didn't have any loans other than that one $3,000.
Yeah. But one thing also, at living at that level, that was a pretty low level, but living at that level, we were in the mindset that we don't eat out.
Yeah.
We don't
didn't go to
pay
movies.
for expensive vacations. We don't do this stuff. And we weren't thinking forever we're going to sit in this spot and never do these things. It was just, for now, this is what we can afford and this is what we're doing, and we're going to be happy with that. Because what we could have done was borrow a lot of money thinking someday we'll have more money than we can pay off this. And that would have been a stupid idea. But that's what most people in America will do. And it's not a good idea. You want to live on exactly what you have so you don't steal from your future self.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we cut everything out. I didn't get my hair cut. I didn't have my nails done. We didn't go to Starbucks. Of course, they didn't really have Starbucks back then, but we didn't do that type of thing.
And we did a lot of free entertainment. Well, except for the cable. So when Tara was really sick, she would be on the couch, not able to do much of anything, and she would watch gardening shows and home shows, not news and soap operas, because those things are just going to depress you.
Yeah.
So she would watch things that
HGTV
kind of made her things like this possible in the future. Things that had some constructive value that kind of made her feel encouraged. And then we also went to the national park was there, and we would go there, and we did a lot of free things.
Yeah. And the apartment we lived in was no lap of luxury. Every time it rained, it was built on the side of a mountain. And every time it rained, it would pour rain down the rocks in the back room. And water would just flow right down that back room all over the place. At one point, we even had some roommates living with us. There was a French couple that were exchange students, and they lived with us and helped, sort of, until they stopped paying the rent a little bit. So they rented that back area for a little while. It was just like 2 rooms.
And the room with the water was like a utility
Yeah.
room separated, so it wasn't the living space. And of course, we did talk to the landlady a lot about that, but nevertheless, it was one of those irritations of renting that you sometimes had to put
Yeah.
up with.
And so, but we just dealt with it, you know, because we had to. We just dealt with it. We'd signed a lease for 6 months. It was the best deal we could find. Until we could get our income up, you know, we couldn't get anything better. And so after the restaurant job, finally, it just literally melted away. Mike started working at Walmart down the mountain. He would drive 45 minutes, get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning to go to work. Some ridiculous, I don't know what, it was really ridiculous in the morning.
Yeah, 3:34.
Yeah, to drive all the way down there to Walmart. It paid like $2 more, so it paid for the extra gas. But it wasn't exactly fun.
So it wasn't exactly fun, but during that time, we didn't just say, okay, I've made my money, now I'm going to go home and watch TV. It was, wow, we're not going to be able to do this forever if we want the kind of life we want. So what can we do to look forward and make a plan to improve the situation from where it is?
Yeah, so we were always trying to look forward to improve upon what we were doing. Mike's restaurant job kind of dried up suddenly one day. And we have kind of a funny story with that. So these people bought this restaurant and they told us they'd never had a restaurant before. Mike helped them set it up. They hired you and Mike helped them set it up, get it painted and everything. And it was kind of weird. What was some of the weird stuff that went on?
I don't remember, but we used to joke around about being government agents and stuff like that because I always thought it was fun and silly to say stuff like that, and they did too.
So they were joking around about being government agents and everything, and how yeah, we don't know how to run a restaurant because we're government agents and all this. Well, come to find out, this job was really kind of fishy. There really wasn't hardly any people coming to the restaurant. You know, it wasn't a real busy restaurant.
It was during the tourist season.
His bosses would be there till like 4 and 5 o'clock in the morning sometimes. And Mike would come into work the next day and his boss would be like, oh yeah, well, I was here till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And my parents were self-employed. So I know when you're self-employed, you have to work a lot. But it was still a little bit strange, but we didn't think anything too much about it. Well, come to find out, the job just literally just kind of up and disappeared one day, basically.
So the tourist season kind of ended and my pay went and I eventually had to stop working there. But then the place itself went away not too long after that, I don't think.
So then Mike, out of curiosity one day, he said, oh, I'm going to look them up.
I just like to Google people that I've known sometimes if they cross my mind. I think, I wonder whatever happened to them. So I Googled them and one of them came up. And the person was a high-ranking intelligence official.
So they really were government agents.
Were they actually government agents at that time? Because it's just funny that now they are.
Well, so come to find out what we think
they used
happened.
to talk. Oh, I know. They did tell stories about like a drug.
Yeah.
A drug.
Drug
some
ring
sort of drug
type
ring
thing
that was operating up in that area
Yeah.
at the time. There's a road that goes over the mountains in that spot that's only open some of the year, and there was some discussion about this drug operation I never heard of before.
Yeah, so come to find out, we think they actually were government agents working on this drug problem that was up there.
It's just funny to see and think, what? Because I thought we were just joking about this.
Come to find out, his job was actually, the people were actually government agents, and your boss, she's somebody high up. His ex-boss is somebody like really high up. We're not going to say who it was or the department or anything, but she's somebody that's fairly high up, and we were totally shocked. I mean, this was just like, 3 or 4 years ago when you looked him up.
Yeah.
So anyway, it was pretty funny.
Well, I was just a little shocked because I thought, in those days, I used to joke around a lot about things. Like I made a joke one time about being in the witness protection program when we lived in this small town in Idaho, and some people picked that up and it became this rumor about us around town for the rest of the time we lived there. And I was just, being silly, but I think apparently they weren't. Well, they were, but there might have been more reality to it than I thought.
Yeah. So anyway, Mike was working for the government and he didn't even know it. So, all right, guys, that's how we work. That's how we lived on $1,000 a month. You can do it. It's not always fun, but you can do it and you can get through and live to tell about it on the other side. Please visit us at livingonadime.com. Check out our Dining on a Dime cookbook to help you save money on your grocery bill. We have thousands of free tips and recipes on our website. Thousands of videos to help you learn how to save money because we did it. You can do it too, and you can improve your situation so then you are rich and you're not just always living on a dime. We will see you guys next time. livingonadime.com.